Hey everyone, this is Razador's Pokemon Shenanigans, and welcome to our 150 subscriber milestone special. We're at 166 at the moment, but hey, better late than never, and I thought this would be a fun way to celebrate the channel's growth. That, and since there's been a bit of a gap in the content uploading, this would be a real fun way to kick things off while we wait for the finale of our baby Pokemon miniseries in Fire Red, which is Pokemon Fire Red as Tyrogue. That run is going pretty well too. Anyway, we'll be rocking hard as Bruno's team for Pokemon Yellow out here in Hoenn. You might think that just because it's his yellow team, which overall is probably a little bit better, at least in Generation 1, comparing it to the red and blue team, that this might be easy. But I actually think that trying out Bruno's yellow team in Ruby will be tougher than the RB counterpart we all know and love. See, here's his team from red and blue. Now, he might only have level up moves in red and blue, but stuff like Hitmonchan having Mega Punch is pretty great. The two Onix on the RB team is pretty much useless with those moves, but Hitmonlee has pretty great moves, and Machamp has same type submission, which is kind of mediocre. But what's really great is Fissure, and unlike in Gen 1, Machamp wouldn't have to be faster in order for it to work. Anything that isn't flying or has the levitate ability is fair game to this 30% accuracy attack. Oh, and because Focus Energy works properly from Generation 2 onward, Machamp would be a real crit machine with stab submission, and just in case you forgot, Machamp has Fissure. That would be awesome if we had access to it. Now, here's Bruno's yellow team's moves. Right away, the two Onix are, well, I'd say much better, but let's say they're actually usable, because that is the correct way to describe them. Both of them having Screech, as well as being able to take full advantage of their typing. But I mean, look at Hitmonchan, man. Look how they massacred my boy in Pokemon Yellow. Those elemental punches look great until you realize it's Gen 3, and Hitmonchan's good attack stat goes right out the window in lieu of a 35 base special attack. The three elemental punches and double team makes him, for sure, the weakest member of the team. Machamp getting Karate Chop is nice, and it's not normal from Gen 2 onward, but losing out on Fissure is kinda not great, and we have strength. We have someone to use Strength, so that'll be cool. The two Onix are most definitely an improvement, but they're still Onix. Now, in addition to needing to match Bruno's moveset, we're also going to be matching his team's level by the end of the game. That works out pretty nicely, as Machamp and Steven's ace, Metagross, will be the same level. This will also force us to use all of Bruno's Pokemon evenly, including the useless Hitmonchan. It hurts to say that, because Hitmonchan is actually my favorite member of the team. But at least Hitmonchan does bring type coverage and status afflictions to the table, so who knows, maybe I'll be wrong about that. And because Bruno's yellow team doesn't have any DVs in the OG games, we're going to be rocking with 0 IVs for the entire team. Now, you saw that both Onix have Rock Slide, and Ruby does lack a move tutor, so here's what I'm going to do. I'll use PK Hex to teach it to both Onix at an appropriate time, so probably after the 6th gem, because I do want Winona to be more challenging. In Yellow, subsequently Fire Red as well, you can actually get Rock Slide after the 2nd badge if you skip Surge. And go to Celadon, go upstairs, give the kid a drink, and she gives you the TM, or in Fire Red, you go to the move tutor inside of Rock Tunnel. But to me, that just feels a little too early for Rock Slide in this game, so one Onix will have Rock Tomb, probably the one with Dig, and the other will have Rock Throw until then. And speaking of PK Hex, what I did to get Bruno's full team is I cloned Machamp 4 times to get a roster of 5, and then just changed them into their respective Pokemon. 2 Onix, a Hitmonchan, and a Hitmonlee, because you can't catch the Hitmons at all, and Onix, I think, is in, like, maybe the Safari Zone? And I'm not sure about Machamp, so I figured we'll start the whole game with them. And a reminder, 0 IVs, and because Bruno's Pokemon and Pokemon Yellow do not have natures, I went with Serious Nature, I think. It was one of the neutral stat gain ones. Now, abilities just passively exist in Generation 3, not much I can do about that, but that's also nice for us because that means we can take advantage of the minor benefits they provide, like Hitmonchan having Keen Eye so he can soak up Sand Attack from the mandatory Mightyena fights. All in all, we're as close as we can possibly be to matching OG Bruno and Pokemon Yellow. Can we help Bruno defeat the gyms of Hoenn, top of the Hoenn Elite Four, and dethrone Steven Stone as champion? Only one way to find out. Let's go and pay our dear Roxanne a visit. This should be pretty easy, actually. Now, Roxanne, as I'm sure you figured out, is going to be pretty easy. After all, we have 3 fighters on our team, and the 2 Onix have Screech. And them being part ground type means that the entire team resists all of Roxanne's best moves, so there's room for a lot of strategy here. But really, I'm thinking that the way to go is to just send in Hitmonlee and start swinging. And what's great about having Hitmonlee here is that Hitmonlee starts with Meditate, which unfortunately we will have to get rid of, and we can't replace it with Bulk Up. It's not on Hitmonlee's final moveset. I mean, I guess I technically could teach bulk up, but since we have to get rid of it, I'm not going to put myself through that torture, so pretty much any TM that we can't use, we're just going to sell it. But speaking of which, Meditate with double kick makes very short work of both Roxanne's Geodude and her nose pass as well. Yeah, I knew this fight was going to be easy, but what about Brawly? Fighter versus fighter. Oh, and those two apparently have met each other. You'll find that out in the Sevi Isles during the postgame of Pokemon Fire Red by talking to some random NPC. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, in Pokemon Ruby, Brawly only has 2 Pokemon. That's Machamp, whom he leads off with, and Makuhita, his ace. We're actually going to go ahead and start with Hitmonlee just to see how we match up here. We are a bit under-leveled as well. And I go for Revenge anticipating Karate Chop, but Machamp not only uses bulk up once, but twice, so we're in a bit of trouble here. Trying for a flinch with Rolling Kick. And because his Machamp has +2 to attack, Hitmonlee goes down real fast, and our Machamp is lower leveled, thus slower, so it goes down as well. And to make a long story short, 2 bulk ups we find out can sweep our entire team. He does hit Hitmonchan with Seismic Toss, I guess just to flex all over us. I mean, so what we're going to do is actually lead off with Onix and try to get into Screech, and unfortunately, the first one gets crit by Karate Chop, and Onix, despite being level 10, is faster. It does miss with Screech, but tanks a Karate Chop. That is awesome. Screech connects, and although Onix goes down, it's time for Hitmonlee to clean house. And thanks to that Screech from Onix, as we go for Rolling Kick, we deal quite a bit of damage. No flinch, goes for bulk up, doesn't matter, Rolling Kick finishes it off. And I figure as we hit level 15, might as well keep Hitmonlee out for Makuhita, and we do go for Rolling Kick, small chance to miss, we do unfortunately. Arm Thrust doesn't deal nearly as much as it could have. Usually have bad luck with that move critting us multiple times, but not this time. Speaking of luck, that Rolling Kick flinch, the follow-up takes it out. That was awesome, man. Who would have thought that Onix would have been useful in the fighting gym of all places? This is looking pretty good. Next up is our second required rival fight, and for here, I went with Grovyle over Marshtomp. Grovyle is very fast, and only the Hitmons have good special defense. Plus, Leaf Blade has a high crit chance, which it doesn't have in this fight, but it will have it after the Weather Institute. Speaking of this fight, though, big fan of Splash, are you, May? That's fine by me. I do appreciate the free KO and having a same-type fighting move with Hitmonchan. Gonna enjoy that while it lasts. Against Noom, we go for Revenge, get hit by Ember, deal great damage. Next up, we go for Comet Punch, only a 2-hitter, of course. We get hit with another Ember, thankfully no burn, and we don't miss with Comet Punch, so only Grovyle remaining. Now, as Grovyle comes out, we're going to go for Revenge again, and it goes for Quick Attack. A better choice there, as it's stronger than same-type Absorb. We have 8 health remaining as our second Revenge takes effect, and we didn't lose a single Pokemon against May 2. I was kind of surprised by that. So remember how Roxanne was very easy? Well, I am very happy to tell you that Watson is no exception there either, because his Ruby Sapphire team is just awful, man. He's got 2-part Steel types, we got a fighting team. Yeah, he's going down. Now, I'd like to give Machamp some time to shine and get it some useful experience points, so we're going to lead off with it. Now, Magnemite is faster, and we'll go for Thunder Wave, but we have a Sherry Berry to cure that, and we deal great damage with Karate Chop. Sadly, we didn't get a crit. Magnemite's Thunder Shock does over half to us, but we're able to take it out and get Machamp some real useful experience points. As Voltorb comes out, however, I'm just going to let Machamp faint, and then I'll switch into Onix. The Soundproof will block Screech. Voltorb is faster and hits us with Sonic Boom for half of our health, and our Rock Throw, it does measly damage, but he goes for Self-Destruct. Like, Watson, what are you doing, man? Did you forget what Pokemon battles are? I guess so. Anyway, as our first Onix goes down, sending out the second one, hoping to hit Magneton with Screech to soften it up for Hitmonlee. And we miss Supersonic and Screech back and forth a comedic amount of times before we finally do connect with it. And thankfully, we are able to get a second one off before we are finished off by Sonic Boom from Magneton. I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised that both Onix are putting in some serious work. Now, one double kick will finish off Magneton, but Hitmonlee's also great here because Hitmonlee's ability, Limber, prevents Magneton from going for Thunder Wave, which would be extremely annoying. Well, not really, because we can just use another Sherry Berry, hold on to it, all that good stuff. But hey, we won. I enjoy runs where Watson is the easiest trainer for us to defeat. I always hate fighting that guy. Next up is our first mandatory Maxi battle, and this is why I chose Ruby over Sapphire, because Archie would have Sharpedo, we're super effective against it. Because, I mean, check this out with Mightyena here, because Mightyena, thanks to us using Revenge, is going to be faster using Bite against us, which could flinch, but it doesn't on either use of Revenge, and doesn't matter that he uses a Super Potion, because Revenge makes very short work of Mightyena. And because we have Hitmonchan out, he sends out Golbat next. For this particular challenge, definitely his most dangerous Pokemon. The strategy here is to use Onix to try to drop his defense with Screech, and Bite, because it's special in Gen 3, does a lot of damage to us, so we don't exactly have a lot of opportunities to pull this off. We really don't want misses. Our Dig Onix also has Rock Tomb, just to differentiate a little bit, and it actually helps out here with the speed drops. And here's where I made a bit of a mistake. I was like, oh yeah, he only has one Super Potion, right? Go get him, Hitmonchan. Mach Punch to victory. Nah, he pulled out a second Super Potion. Now, after Maxi heals, we are able to soften up Golbat a little bit with a 3-hit Comet Punch, but Wing Attack, obviously that's going to take us down. And as Hitmonchan goes down, I figure, okay, let's send out Onix here. Onix is a pretty decent matchup here. We use Rock Throw, Connect, down goes the Golbat, and as Camerupt comes up, you know our strategy with Onix by this point is to soften up bulkier Pokemon like Camerupt using Screech, so that something that's stronger, like Hitmonlee, can take it down. And we may resist fire, but Onix has terrible special defense. Only takes a couple of Embers to take us out, but Camerupt is softened up quite nicely here. And with Camerupt's defenses completely nuked, all we gotta do is send in Hitmonlee, use Double Kick. I'm very glad we get to keep that move the entire game, and yeah, easily take him down. So that Wonder Twin strategy with the 2 Onix using Screech is pretty great, right? Well, the problem with that is next up is Flannery, and although her Ruby team is kind of bad, Torkoal has White Smoke, so we cannot rely on Screech strategies for this battle. That said, as we talk to Flannery and get ready to battle, she's going to send out the first of her 2 Slugma. We're leading off with Onix, going for Screech, taking advantage of that while we can. But first, I'm like, let's try Dig, test out the damage. And that damage leaves a little bit to be desired. I was hoping for a little over a half, and gotta say, I'm surprised that Onix tanked that Overheat. Yeah, it's Slugma using it, but like, we're using an Onix, guys. We have terrible special defense, and Overheat's really strong. On the bright side, however, we do get Flannery to use one of her Hyper Potions on the Slugma, so that's pretty great. Definitely don't want her having those for Torkoal. With Slugma 1's defenses nuked pretty hard, it only takes a couple of Rock Throws to take out the first Slugma. Only 2 more to go? Out next comes the second Slugma. This one's dangerous because it does have Sunny Day, and it does go for it, but thankfully we do hit with Screech. So we go for a Rock Throw. I'm thinking of ways to turn a Sunny Day, but that critical hit is actually very unlucky because Torkoal will have 1 extra turn in the sun, so Overheat is really gonna hurt now. As Torkoal comes out, we go for Rock Throw, miss 10% chance that Overheat with Sunny Day, obviously we're going down. Now, one good thing about her team in Ruby, good for us anyway, is that her Torkoal does not have the White Herb that it does in Emerald, so once it uses Overheat, the special attack drop, that's permanent. And you can see just how little damage Hitmonchan is doing to Torkoal, and that's before it's being forced to use special attacks. And despite the special attack drop, Hitmonchan goes down. We're going to send out Machamp next, go for Focus Energy, try to get some synergy with Karate Chop. We do survive the first Body Slam, no crit from Karate Chop, second Body Slam takes us down. And now because Hitmonlee has Limber, no fear of paralysis from Body Slam, so as we send it out, we're going to go for Revenge. We take a lot of damage. We do great damage in return, so... Oh, come on. Come on, man. No, that had to be a low damage roll. We almost had that. I mean, the good thing is that we don't have to be any stronger level-wise to try to win this fight. Bad news is that Torkoal is an absolute monster against our team. And the real unfortunate thing about us in this fight is that, although we do have 2 Onix with moves that are super effective against Torkoal, Torkoal's physical defense is absolutely bat-crap crazy. I believe base 140. You combine that with Onix's pitiful base 35 attack stat, so even moves like Rock Throw that are super effective aren't gonna do all that much. And of course we have 1 Onix with Dig. Does it really matter? I have to say, when I came into this challenge, I wasn't expecting Flannery. Well, I wasn't expecting her to be easy because I was anticipating Torkoal, but I was not anticipating that Torkoal being this difficult, although I remain convinced that I got a very low damage roll off of Brick Break. Now, things are looking pretty dire here, and at this time, I was considering going to level up. I was going to try a couple of more times, and, well, then this run right here happened, and Flannery clearly wanted to just throw the Slugmas away, using stuff like Smog when she has Flamethrower. I mean, look at that. We took out Slugma with Tackle from Onix, and she wasted a Hyper Potion again. I mean, as the second one comes out, check this out. It ends up going for light screen against all 0 of our special attacking moves currently. But it does set up Sunny Day, and Onix does tank the flamethrower. But because Onix is still alive and Sunny Day is up, we can have Onix sacrifice itself, tanking that overheat to drop Torkoal's special attack. So we end up going for Dig as the Dig Onix comes out, does very little damage. Not a big deal though. We do end up critting with Bind, which is cool. We get a little bit of chip damage going while this Onix is still out on the field. Unfortunately, we lose our turn to Paralysis courtesy of Body Slam. Overheat takes out our second Onix. As we send out Hitmonchan, we go for Comet Punch, which of course misses. We get hit with Attract. Comet Punch does hit, does quite a bit of damage. We get hit really hard with Flail. But Torkoal should be low enough for our Hitmonlee to be able to take it out. Flail took us down to 12 health, but Hitmonlee's Revenge took out Torkoal, winning us the battle against Flannery, even though she kinda threw the fight. Hooray, I suppose. Now, next up is Norman, the normal type trainer. We do have the type advantage there. However, he does have 2 slacking, and although they can only attack every other turn, they are pretty darn strong, so I'm thinking the best thing for us to do is lead off with one of our Onix. And you know the strat by now, try to soften it up with Screech. We get hit by Yawn as we hit with Screech. I go for Bind hoping to hit, we don't. And are you seeing what I'm seeing? Slacking keeps going for Yawn. I mean, this thing has Feint Attack, I think. But we do hit with Bind to get a little bit of chip damage coming in, so that's pretty cool. I mean, maybe it only has Feint Attack in Emerald? Oh, no, never mind. There it is. I knew it had Feint Attack. And I don't know if you guys are seeing what I'm seeing, but we are missing Screech a comical amount of times here. Like, it has 85 accuracy. Because of that, we actually lose our first Onix to the first slacking. So what we're going to do is send in the second Onix, go for Screech. That'll also force his slacking to use Yawn, not a problem. Go for Screech while it's loafing around, so we can go ahead and switch into Machoke. Yep, finally I'm a Choke. Oh, just a reminder that the Universal Pokemon Randomizer does in fact have a feature that lets you evolve Pokemon via trade by level up instead. By level 37, we will have Machamp. Now we're going to switch back to Onix for Vigoroth. This thing does not have Truant, and unfortunately it is faster than we are. I mean, we're also 7 levels lower. But fortunately we do land 1 Screech, so Onix number 2 has done its job. We're going to risk the biscuit here and send in a Hitmonlee because, I say risk because it's pretty frail despite how strong it is. We do survive Slash, thankfully no crit, 1-shot Vigoroth, and we should be good. But why, Roz? We got another slacking to deal with. Well, this slacking really likes Focus Punch, even though it has Facade and Feint Attack as well, and could have definitely finished off our Hitmonlee. That said, slacking is still very bulky, despite the fact that we're dealing pretty decent damage with our under-leveled Hitmonlee. But because Norman really wants to try to hit us with Focus Punch, we end up squeaking out a victory. That critical hit surely does help. And the icing on the cake, I guess, because I don't like High Jump Kick in Gen 3, because I don't think that the power output is worth the risk, but we gotta take it because it's one of our required moves. But we're gonna hold on to Brick Break for a little bit longer. Revenge has served its purpose. As we make our way to Fortree, we have to battle May one more time, at least we're required to. There is the optional one in Lilycove, which I always take in. We're leading off with Hitmonchan here, and I'm really dreading this because, I mean, Numel's not gonna be a problem at all. Once we deal with that, however, it's just... I just feel my soul drain as we hit level 26. It's like, oh, here's the elemental punches, but they're all special attacks, and Hitmonchan went from being pretty good to nearly unusable. Combine our low special attack stat with the fact that we have 0 IVs. Oh, yeah. Even the calciums I've been buying aren't saving us here. Like, case in point here, yeah, we are a bit weakened, but as we're fighting Wailmer using Thunder Punch, which is weak to, we end up losing to a Wailmer with Hitmonchan. Like... oh my goodness, I mean, I'm keeping Mach Punch for grinding purposes. There is no way I'm teaching Double Team right now. But I have to eventually. But yeah, as far as this May battle goes, the only time she's ever really difficult is when you're en route to Mobile City. But you'll see here that I feel pretty justified in having her pick Grovyle because Leaf Blade, when it crits, almost one-shots our Hitmonlee. Because I'll tell you right now, if I picked Marsh Stomp, I would just have Onix use Screech and then just obliterate it with Hitmonlee. Grovyle was kind of a menace, not gonna lie. And we're gonna go ahead and level up a little bit in preparation for Winona. And what better way to do that than make our way to Lilycove, battle May, all that good stuff, get a lot of XP because we're certainly going to need it. And while this earth-shadowing, harrowing battle takes place, I do want to apologize for my delay in uploads. Just been really busy as of late, especially lately, because where I work, there's this thing called peak season. We work 6 days a week, and the hours are up, the work is up. I mean, it's pretty great because making money, and I've already actually purchased my upgrade PC, which should be coming by the 22nd of this month. Very much looking forward to that. But peak season goes all the way till January 3rd of 2025, which it is slowing me down a bit, but combine that with working on other projects, I had to slow down a bit here. However, I do have a couple of runs on backlog that I just gotta finish editing, and I can have those up for you guys. That way we get some content coming back up on here and stuff. Plus, while those are uploaded, I can keep working on the Tyrogue run without much interruption, with what little free time I currently have. But after January 3rd, big focus on getting back on track here. I really want to get invasive species back up and running. We're not going to be stopping in increments of 10. We're going to go on for quite a while because, I mean, again, I really want to get that series back on track. I have a lot of fun with making those runs, too. Getting back to the run here, we now are going to battle Winona. Our entire team has been grinded up to level 30 for, yes, that includes our special attacking hitmonchan. Now, against her Swallow, we're actually going to lead off with Machoke, because Machoke has Vital Throw right now, which bypasses Double Team. I was hoping she would spam Double Team again. We do tank Aerial Ace from Swallow, though, which is pretty nice. Unfortunately, we don't tank it from Skarmory, and it outspeeds us. Now we're going to send in Onix and start working our little Screech magic. We go for it. The first one does connect. Skarmory responds with Stealing, thankfully no proc. I use Rock Throw to test out damage, not great, to be expected. Go for Screech again. Skarmory goes for Steel Wing, does not miss, down it goes. So we're going to send in Hitmonlee, and it's really all or nothing here. Go for High Jump Kick, we don't miss, and we take out the Skarmory. Very good. Interestingly enough, she sends out Pelipper next, which is fine. We have Hitmonchan with Thunder Punch to take care of that one. Although we get crit by Aerial Ace, we tank it, and the second Thunder Punch takes it down. I decide to keep Hitmonchan in the ring, hoping that we'll be faster and can land an Ice Punch. Unfortunately, Altaria outspeeds us. Yeah, we're down. So you know what's next. We're going to send out our Onix and go for Screech. Unfortunately, although we connect, we do get it with Dragon Breath, get paralyzed. Doesn't really matter anyway. The second one takes us out all the same. All we have left is Hitmonlee. We go for High Jump Kick. Does pretty good damage despite type resistance, and it's going for Dragon Dance. Yeah, with that, it's now faster and can one-shot us with Aerial Ace. Can you imagine if we didn't level up? But honestly, I'm not at all surprised. I knew this fight was going to be very difficult going into it. And yeah, Onix might resist flying, at face value. But when you look at the moveset of her team, Onix basically is just there to use Screech. But that said, I have been talking about this a couple times throughout the course of the run. I really like that Onix, despite the fact it is objectively our weakest Pokemon, has still been consistently useful with moves like Screech. Vine does help sometimes with chip damage. The Dig Onix can waste the enemy's power point, all that good stuff. And although it's been a bit of an underdog up to this point, Machoke having Vital Throw actually makes it very useful in this fight because Swallow loves going for Double Team. Vital Throw can't miss, and we get same type from it. We deal neutral damage due to Swallow being normal flying, but Machoke does hit it pretty darn hard. Now, one thing I can say did not surprise me is how well Hitmonlee has been doing. In my opinion, Hitmonlee, in terms of what we have available for us to use, is Bruno's best Pokemon. It has really good attack, has decent speed, I think it's base 87, and it gets same type from some relatively strong moves. I know I said before, I'm not a fan of High Jump Kick, and I'm not. But at the same time, getting same type from it makes it pretty decent to use. It's always worth the risk because it hits really hard. The Double Kick's pretty nice, although I will say that I kinda wish we had the Red and Blue Hitmonlee because we'd have Focus Energy instead of Double Team, which we'll eventually have to teach. But it's all good. I'm having a lot of fun with this run. I was thinking about leveling up a little bit more, but I was persistent and wanted to try to beat Winona at our current level because I fully think that we can. There's just something that's missing, and then it hit me. In this attempt here, leading off like we always do, having Machoke take out Swallow courtesy of Vital Throw. It's got a lot more health now, too. Now, when she sends out Skarmory and keeps spamming Sand Attack, we just get free turns with Vital Throw. Again, it doesn't miss. Now, unfortunately, our Machoke will go down, but it put in good work there, making her waste a Hyper Potion on Skarmory. Now equipped with a Citrus Berry, because held items are allowed in these challenges. Onix hangs on just long enough to get all 3 Screeches in, so now Skarmory is down by -6 for defense. We'll go ahead and send out Hitmonlee, use Brick Break, guaranteed accuracy, takes out Skarmory. And here's where Hitmonchan really gets to shine, because it didn't get crit by Aerial Ace, and it only takes about half. Hitmonchan forces Winona to use a Hyper Potion on Pelipper, it's her last one. And he takes out the Pelipper, sweet experience points. And once Hitmonchan goes down, here's where this battle gets unbelievably insane. We're going for Rock Tomb to negate the speed boost from Dragon Dance, hoping to heck we don't miss it. It has 80 accuracy in Gen 3. Onix tanks a buffed Earthquake, and because Winona no longer has healing items, never misses Rock Tomb a single time and takes out Altaria. Yo, I did not think there was a chance in the world Onix would win any of these gym fights for us, but there we go. Tate and Liza, well, not a whole lot to say about these guys. I mean, they are a double battle, and leading off with our 2 Onix, you know the drill by now. It's a great strategy. We're going to screech them down as much as we possibly can, and of course our Onix are going to faint because terrible special defense. Lunatone gets same type from Psychic, and is a pretty strong special attacker. But once we soften up these two for Hitmonlee and Machamp to come in, it's pretty much GG. But, you know, things don't always go according to plan, and we're going to see here, Lunatone using Psychic on Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee survives on an absolute sliver. Gotta be a low damage roll right there. Machamp using Leer to pick up that slack, and then the nice 1-2 punch is all it takes to take out Lunatone, defeat Tate and Liza. Next up is the second Maxi battle, a battle you wouldn't think is that difficult, but in this run, a perfect illustration as to why I picked Ruby over Sapphire. Now, unfortunately, I had to get rid of one of our Onix, the one with Dig, because we need an HM user with Rock Smash, so I brought the Zigzagoon, but our second Onix does no Earthquake. That said, leading off with Hitmonchan to soak up Intimidate, we're going to set up a double team. Yeah, finally taught that, and that pays off immediately as Mightyena misses with Scary Face. I figured to go for Thunder Punch because Paralysis is pretty great. Low damage, and unfortunately we get hit by Swagger, so the only time we can actually use Hitmonchan's great attack stat is when we are hitting ourselves. Fortunately, Mightyena does not damage us, and we do get the Paralysis off of Thunder Punch. Very nice. Go for another Thunder Punch, and this time we do get hit by Scary Face. Max uses a Super Potion, very outdated, so not a big deal. And because Mightyena is paralyzed, little Gen 3 AI quirk here, it keeps going for Scary Face, which actually allows Hitmonchan to KO the Mightyena. Good job, Hitmonchan. Since we have Double Team Crobats coming up, might as well stick around, see what happens, and we get taken out. Hey, free swap, loving that. And this Crobat is an absolute unit, let me tell you what. Because Bite is special in Generation 3, it's actually great against our entire team, and yeah, we do end up getting all 3 Screeches, which is awesome. The problem with that, however, is that Crobat is extremely fast, so even though we're sending out Machamp, we're going to go for Strength. That should KO it, and we take a lot of damage off of Air Cutter. Strength does knock it out, very good. So as Maxi sends out Camera, we're going to go and set up Leer. We're going to get taken out by Earthquake, not a big deal, but it is softened up a little bit. We send out Hitmonlee, go for a high jump kick, pray it doesn't miss, it doesn't, and unfortunately Earthquake is going to take us out. If we had our full team, we definitely would have won that. But we don't, so we have to fight Maxi with one hand tied behind our back, but I do think this is very interesting because Maxi 2 in Pokemon Ruby is a fight that you'd never think about casually. I mean, Crobat is a pretty darn good Pokemon, and Camerupt is okay. I mean, if you have, at this point, you would have Swampert, so a Water move is going to take it out no problem. But here in this run, as Bruno's team from Yellow, Maxi is pretty darn hard. Every single one of his Pokemon is a threat to us, even Mightyena being Dark-type. Mightyena can status us with Scary Face and Swagger. Crobat is Crobat, it's Poison Flying. Really, really bad matchup for fighting types. And Camerupt with same type Earthquake, pretty darn strong. Now, since Hitmonlee still has Focus Energy, we're definitely making use of that. And funny enough, speaking of Hitmonlee, this is one battle where it's actually not that great. I mean, yeah, it can take out Mightyena no problem, but Crobat just completely destroys it. We're gonna go and send out Hitmonchan, tank an Air Cutter, go for Ice Punch, no freeze unfortunately, but hey, the damage, not too bad. And as we send out Onix, we don't have great luck. I was trying to weaken it a bit with Slam, but, well, Slam is horribly inaccurate, so down goes Onix already, so it's up to Machamp to win this for us. Thankfully, although we get hit by Confuse Wave, we break out very early, take out the Crobat, so now it's 1v1, Camerupt and Machamp at full health. And while Maxi could have certainly used 2 Earthquakes to take us out, using Amnesia to buff a special defense against all 0 of Machamp's special moves, great strategy there. Good old Generation 3, man. Generation 3 loves its status so much. Hey, at least we got to use our Punchline from Invasive Species in this run. Now we can deposit our second HM Pokemon, go grab our other Onix, and have our full team ready to fight Wallace. And, well, I didn't mean to start with Onix, so we're gonna go ahead and let Love Disc KO it. It's much faster. And now what really surprised me was that High Jump Kick did not one-hit KO Love Disc, probably a low damage roll. It's not that dangerous of a Pokemon, it's just kind of annoying with Attract and Water Pulse, not that big of a deal. Focus Energy Double Kick immediately pays off, one shot, one use of Double Kick takes out the Love Disc. As Whiscash comes out, Focus Energy buff Double Kick brings it to a sliver and it goes for Amnesia. Boy, really trying to defend against our special moves that don't exist, aren't you? Next up is Celio. It's part Ice type, so it doesn't really matter. We probably didn't need that crit to take out Celio, but no kill quite like overkill. Next up, Wallace sends out Seaking, so it's Gen 1 Pokemon versus Gen 1 Pokemon. It goes for Rain Dance after tanking a High Jump Kick, so now it's faster thanks to Swift Swim. Hitmonlee tanks Water Pulse, takes it down with Double Kick. As we take it down, Wallace sends out his ace, Milotic, and hopefully High Jump Kick will crit. Didn't, unfortunately, still did great damage. We do get confused off of Water Pulse, and unfortunately we take ourselves out. So what we're gonna do to wear down the clock on Rain Dance is send out the other Onix, just let it faint. Milotic's faster, goes for Ice Beam, no big deal. Rain Dance ends as we send out Hitmonchan. We're going to set up Double Team. We do get hit by Ice Beam, unfortunately, but because of our great special defense, we're pretty okay. We do get a little bit of mileage out of that Double Team as we're chipping away at special defense tank Milotic with Thunder Punch, but we get taken out by a critical Ice Beam. It's all up to Machamp from here. Milotic is definitely faster. We tank that Water Pulse fairly well, and thankfully we do not miss with Submission. And it's good to see our Machamp, Bruno's ace, actually pulling its weight a bit here. I mean, can't really make fun of it too much because it was pretty darn awesome against Maxie, because Maxie threw the fight. Now, before we can mosey on into the league, we do have to make it past Wally, who is normally pretty easy, but we need 2 HM users, and I ran out of revives, so we are fighting Wally with about half of our team. Using Hitmonchan to take out Altaria feels like the play. 4 times Ice Punch is still 4 times damage after all. But that isn't the problem with this fight. You see, Wally's ace is Gardevoir, and Gardevoir is very fast. Gardevoir has same type attack bonus Psychic, and we're weak to Psychic. We'll take out Altaria with Hitmonlee here real quick, and then we're about to see the absolute menace that Gardevoir is. Now, even for Wally, this Pokemon is awesome, especially against our fighting types. Now, you see, here's the thing about Wally, especially in Pokemon Ruby, is, first off, he doesn't have full restores, he has super potions in this fight. So if we can outmuscle Gardevoir and take it down, it's going to be because Wally was using super potions and probably picked dud moves like Future Sight, which actually can miss, which is very interesting for a move that's supposed to attack you in the future. But before I get onto the strategy, we'll call it, it's going to take us many tries to defeat Wally because we are fighting him basically with one hand tied behind our back. But because we have 2 Pokemon that we could use to fight him out of our party, we have our hand tied behind our back, and we have a bit of a cramp in our leg. For Wally, it's the equivalent of racing a one-legged person in a sprinting contest and being super proud of himself that he won. But it is still Wally at the end of the day. His AI is really weird. Very reflective of the fact that he's just, well, he's better than Brendan and May as a trainer, but Wally is just still bad. And now you might think I was joking about him using dud moves and stuff. Well, after about 15 minutes in real time worth of attempts, we're gonna get this here, starting off with Altaria to fight as usual. Hitmonchan, unfortunately, is not able to take him down because he deals just 2 little damage with Ice Punch. Real shame. Also has me kind of worried about Drake. Behold the awesomeness that is Wally. Wally wastes so much time with Future Sight that we're able to use Leer twice with the Machamp, and then Strength twice to take it out. Like, come on, man. Well, I guess Wally just can't help but be himself, right? And the rest of his team really isn't worth talking about because Delcatty is weak to both Hitmonlee and Machamp. A little bit annoying with Sing, but it can't really do anything to us. Magneton we're going to take out with Hitmonlee just to make sure that thing goes down because it does no Thunderbolt. And Roselia is pretty weak at this point in the game. It does have Magical Leaf. 60 base power, same type, doesn't miss, but we're able to tank that just fine. Machamp takes out Wally with, oh, let's tally up those hit points real quick. 44 out of 134, not bad. And now we have to level up a lot to fight the Elite Four. We've been kind of under-leveled for most of this run, haven't we? That's a pretty cool little achievement. So we're going to get our team to the 50s. I figure that will level up a little bit during the Elite Four. And check that out, we put 19 hours and 41 minutes into this challenge so far, and well, Sydney won't be that bad, I don't think. He is the Dark-type trainer, but, well, before we talk about the others, let's talk about fighting Sydney. And despite Intimidate, we do one-shot Mighty Ando with High Jump Kick. Really awesome start, and Shift Tree's next. It does no extra sensory, so we gotta be careful. We're gonna go for Double Kick, has 100 accuracy, just playing it safe. We do a lot of damage to Shift Tree. Goes for Double Team, kind of annoying. Thankfully, it ends up not mattering. We take out Shift Tree, out comes Absol. It ends up going for Snatch. Very nice. Double Kick does pretty darn good damage to Absol. I think that's full restore range, but it has a Citrus Berry, so Sydney won't heal, and we can take it out safely with Double Kick. Now, next up, he's going to send out Cacturn, and I really should have just gone for the raw power of High Jump Kick here. We still do really good damage with Double Kick, but we get hit with Leech Seed. That's going to be very annoying. But it also prevents Sydney from healing, so pretty cool, too. Now, we're going to stay in as Sharpedo comes out. I'm thinking that it's not the bulkiest Pokemon, so maybe Double Kick will take it out. And again, should have gone for High Jump Kick here because that would have won the day, but I wanted the guaranteed accuracy. Paid for it pretty hard here, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to switch in Machamp and maybe get some XP for it. And, well, that was an interesting idea. Sydney does use his full restore here. Normally that wouldn't be a problem because Machamp has pretty good attack and would be able to take out Sharpedo, if not for the fact we got hit by Swagger due to being outsped. Hit ourselves so many times that Surf finished us off. So I'm thinking, alright, if we send out Hitmonlee, it's gonna get KO'd by Rough Skin, so we'll try with Hitmonchan, and honestly, Thunder Punch's damage is a lot better than I was expecting. But just like Machamp before it, Swagger Surf combo takes it out, so I'm like, you know what? We're gonna go back to Hitmonlee real quick and just KO each other, courtesy of Double Kick. Oh, that was bad, man. That was bad. So next up is Phoebe, and immediately Hitmonlee is going to be a dud in that fight. It literally cannot hit any of Phoebe's Pokemon. But I have a strategy that should work. It's gonna take a few tries, I'm sure, but here's where our Wonder Twin Onix duo is really going to shine. But we are going to lead off with Hitmonlee all the same, because we can use Hitmonlee to set up Double Team, and then try to waste as many power points of Dusclops as we can, plus this Dusclops knows Curse. Unfortunately, however, this Dusclops also knows Shadow Punch, and once we start setting up our double teams, it is going to go for it because it has guaranteed accuracy, so it's a pretty good move on the AI's part. But I was hoping that it would go for Curse, because we send out Onix to lower its defense with Screech. It finally does go for Curse here, but we don't want our Onix cursed. Still, we can swap out, which will give it a free turn to attack. Thankfully, Dusclops does go for Future Sight, so we can use Earthquake to take it out. Now, I didn't let Hitmonlee faint because Future Sight, I'm thinking, well, rather than having Onix or Hitmonchan get hit by it, why not have Hitmonlee get hit by it? But, well, we evaded it thanks to Double Team. And gotta say, we do get a little bit of mileage out of it as we're building up our evasion and Dusclops continues to miss, although eventually we do get hit with Earthquake. So here, our strategy is then to send in Machamp, because Machamp also really can't do much in this fight. However, it can use Leer to lower the defense of the second Dusclops. We're trying to soften it up so that we can send in Onix, the one with Earthquake, to take it out. Yes, you heard me correctly, Onix is our hardest hitter in this fight. Oh dear. Now, sadly, Earthquake does not one-shot, but we tank Ice Beam. I cannot believe Onix survived that. Now, we are able to take out Dusclops with Onix, and she decides to send in Bayonet, so we're going to send in Hitmonchan, start setting up some double teams, and not having great luck with that evasion, unfortunately. However, I learned something very interesting in this fight, is that this Bayonet also has Spite, and while we're going for Screech, it keeps going for Spite. Perfectly fine, Screech has 40 power points. And it's going to keep going for it as we lower its defense by the full 6 stages. Thankfully, Screech does not miss, and then we end up going for a Rock Slide and one-shotting Bayonet. Man, Onix, man. As Sableye comes out, we end up going for Screech, and we end up tanking Psychic, though we're weakened. Rock Slide does about half, we get taken out. We'll send in our Earthquake Onix and take out Sableye. Now, we are too low on health to actually win this, but you can see the path to victory. This isn't going to be so bad. Now, I will say that this wasn't done in, like, the next 1 or 2 tries. No, this fight took me about 9 tries to complete, I think. And the reason why this fight can be so difficult, in addition to everything else, is that Sableye also knows Attract, and it also knows Double Team. so it's pretty darn annoying. We can just straight up get shut down by Sableye with Attract. All of Bruno's Pokemon I have as male, because Bruno, Bruno's male, so I have male Pokemon. His Pokemon don't have gender in Gen 1, so I just kind of went with whatever. But what really blows my mind here as the fight is going on is that Onix, both of them, have been monumentally useful this entire run. Like, I figured they would run out of gas, even with their much better moves than their red-blue counterparts, but no, they've been great this entire run, and the fact that they are absolutely essential to defeating Phoebe is just awesome to me. And not only that, but we're also getting to use Machamp in ways you wouldn't think to use it, even though, at face value, he can't hit the ghosts either. But thanks to Leer, even Machamp can contribute, and Hitmonlee can be there to soak up Future Sight sent off by the first Dusclops. It's the only fight in this entire run up to this point, anyway, where Hitmonlee has actually been a dud. When I fired up this run, I did not think at all that Onix would be more useful than Machamp. You saw that Sydney fight, that was pretty horrible. And the real icing on the cake here is that as we're taking out Phoebe's team, the strategy is consistently working out, but up until this point we've just been lacking in firepower, and sometimes Spite Bane will go for Feint Attack. But not this time, however. Onix with Earthquake ended up winning with almost full health, man. Onix, you can retire right here if you want to, my friend. You did amazing work in this fight. In stark contrast, Glacia, going to be quite easy. Let's see, Glalie number 1, Hitmonlee high jump kick, one-shot. She decides to send out the first of her 2 Cilio, and unsurprisingly, one-shot with high jump kick. Yeah, Hitmonlee is definitely itching for some action after that last fight. So as the second Cilio comes out, yeah, sure, let's send in Machamp. Why not? Oh, submission missed, and we got taken on to 55 health because we kept missing. Oh, that's fun. Oh, what's that? We can one-shot Glalie? Well, yeah, but it's faster and took us out with Ice Beam. Man, Machamp has just been, like, almost a complete dud. The only use it's had in the Elite Four is soaking hits and spamming Leer. Also, something I didn't see coming. I did see high jump kick missing, and, well, we're now in quite a bit of trouble. And as we send out Hitmonchan to soften it up, it doesn't miss Blizzard a single time. 70 accuracy, also doesn't have 100 accuracy in Hail in this game. Dig Onix uses Screech, so we can send out the Earthquake Onix to use Rock Slide to defeat Glacia with Onix. Yo, this Onix putting in serious work. But the time for celebration is over, because next up we have to battle Drake, and Drake, I'll tell you straight up, Drake is an absolute nightmare. It's like, you wouldn't think of Shelgon as being anything dangerous. Normally, that's there just to kind of try to stall you out with Rock Tomb. And I do think that leading off with digging Onix is the play here, because Shelgon, Onix can obviously tank the Rock Tombs, and using Screech to lower its defense is pretty much its calling card, but even Shelgon is a threat here, because Dragon Claw is special, and we know that Onix has terrible special defense, and in fact it can take out Onix quite easily. We can swap into Machamp to take it out, and next he sends out Flygon, which is not really great for us because Flygon, although it doesn't get the same type from it, Flygon does no Fly, super effective against our fighting types. And here's where you can really see the bad IVs coming into play, because if Hitmonchan had decent IVs and special attack, that probably would be a 2-shot, almost definitely be a 2-shot. Now we can swap into Onix to tank Fly, but as we swap back in, it goes for Dragon Breath, and Dragon Breath seems to paralyze quite often. As the Sandstorm wears off, we send out Hitmonlee, almost one-shot with high jump kick. Again, better IVs that would have been a one-shot. But as Flygon goes for Fly, we can also set up Double Team. Fly is not 100 accurate anyway, so that does end up helping out. And speaking of flying Pokemon, he has Salamence, that's his ace, and he's faster than Onix. One Dragon Claw definitely is going to take him out. And Machamp is much slower than Salamence, so Fly is going to one-shot him. As we send out Hitmonlee, go for Double Team, and despite the evasion boost, Fly very easily able to finish off our ace. Now, we do have a path to victory, narrow though it may be. Against his Shelgon, we have to send out Digging Onix, no question about it. Use Screech, get his defense lowered as much as possible. Now, I would love to be able to KO Shelgon with this Onix, that way we would have it for later in the fight, but with how hard Dragon Claw is hitting it, it's just not gonna happen. Now, it's pretty great that Hitmonchan has a 4 times effective move against 4 out of 5 of Drake's Pokemon, but because he's slower than Salamence and even Flygon, not gonna get all that much mileage out of it. The ideal strategy would be to set up Double Team just as Flygon is setting up Sandstorm, which is unfortunate because we're gonna get chipped away. Flygon will go for Fly and probably hit because it is still a high accuracy move. I do think that we need to have Hitmonchan ready to take on Salamence, though, so we're going to need some double team set up for him. And now, the one good thing about Hitmonchan using special attack is that Intimidate doesn't matter, so Hitmonchan can soak up Salamance's Intimidate just fine. And I'm thinking that if all else fails, we can send in Hitmonlee. We'll have to use double team to try to avoid Fly. But since he won't be weakened by Intimidate, Mega Kick should be able to deal decent damage, I hope. It is base 120 power, but it's also 75 accuracy. Now in this attempt here, as Hitmonchan is hanging on for dear life and ends up going down to Salamence, when we send out Hitmonlee, turns out that what we were just talking about is pretty much what we gotta go for. Double Team is gonna help us out quite a bit here with evading Fly, but as you can see, Mega Kick does alright damage to Salamence, honestly. We're gonna need luck on our side to get by Drake, but again, the path to victory does lie before us. Many tries later. Starts off pretty much the same, with us unfortunately not being able to take out Shelgon. Would have loved for Rock Slide to flinch there, but we can send in Machamp, you know the drill. We'll actually keep Machamp out for Flygon, because Dragon Breath can paralyze, which can trigger Machamp's ability Guts, and probably didn't need the Guts boost to take it out, but Guts does guarantee that Machamp KOs Flygon, so it is pulling a bit of weight. And now here I swap into Onix, thinking that Salamence is gonna go for Fly, but nah, goes for Dragon Claw, takes out Onix right away. And as we send out Hitmonchan to do battle with Salamence, you can see our double team and Ice Punch strategy really starting to pay off here. Hitmonchan is hitting this thing pretty darn hard, all things considered. It'll take a couple of shots to put this big boy down, and of course, Drake will use a full restore here, which gives us a free hit. Would love to freeze this guy. And you know what's really awesome? As we keep laying into Salamence with Ice Punches, we don't get hit a single time. That's right, Hitmonchan took out Drake's ace Pokemon. Good job, Hitmonchan. Now, last up is Altaria. For some odd reason, this thing has Takedown instead of Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace would be pretty bad for us, but thanks to our double team boosts, despite Dragon Dance and Full Restore, Hitmonchan takes out 2 of Drake's Pokemon. Wow, that's... If there was any fight we needed Hitmonchan to come in clutch, it was this one. Very glad to see my boy kicking some butt and taking some names in spades. And, speaking of getting our butts kicked, next up is Steven, the champion, and, well, he is a Steel-type trainer with a couple of Rock types in the form of the Fossils, and his move coverage is really good. In fact, his coverage is amazing against our entire team. I'm still stunned that our special attacking Hitmonchan was actually more useful than Machamp. I definitely should have leveled up Machamp more. I overestimated it and thought it would get more XP here in the Elite Four. But anyway, time to fight Steven. I'm sure this will go great. And now this might shock you to your core, but we do not win on our first try. And the reason why we're leading off with Onix against Skarmory is that we need Screech more than ever in this fight. And the thing about Skarmory, too, is that Skarmory, Steel Flying, is super effective against our entire team. That's Steel Wing, it has Aerial Ace, Toxic is always annoying, but Spikes makes this fight really, really dangerous, because anytime we switch in, we're taking a little bit of damage. Oh, and speaking of Fossils, Armaldo has Battle Armor, so it cannot be critically hit, and it wrecks Hitmonlee. So I'm thinking that the strategy here is to use Screech on Skarmory, and Onix 1 will faint, as it so often does, because it's basically Screech Fodder at this point. But as long as High Jump Kick doesn't miss, doesn't here, we can take out Skarmory in one shot. And we actually still have Digging Onix here, so that's pretty awesome. We have our full team. Now, I'm thinking that Machamp is the ideal one to soften up Armaldo with Leer, because Armaldo has Water Pulse, Onix out of the question. Machamp will faint, but Hitmonlee can sweep in and take it down. And then out comes Metagross, and I am stunned that our Digging Onix is actually faster. Earthquake Onix, on the other hand, is not. I guess we got more speed EVs for Digging Onix. Now, although Hitmonlee does outspeed Metagross, doesn't matter. One Psychic, it would one-shot him from full health. And it's right around here where I realize that we are in serious trouble here, but as we go through more and more attempts, I am starting to realize that it would actually be in our best interest if Onix KOs Skarmory. Doesn't matter which one, because we're going to see this in a little bit here, but if Onix KOs Skarmory instead of Hitmonlee, rather than Armaldo, he'll send out Aggron, and that it's like, okay, what's different there? Well, Aggron being Rock Steel type means we have a lot of options. It's definitely the easiest Pokemon for us to take out. And I'm thinking that we'll actually use Hitmonchan to take out Aggron, because Hitmonchan has Fire Punch, and it's not going to do a lot of damage. But with Double Team, maybe he'll be able to dodge tank a little bit, And if we can get a burn, that would be fantastic. And then after Aggron comes out Armaldo. What I would really like is for Machamp to survive just long enough to maybe get in 4 Leers, and then... who am I kidding? We're in a lot of trouble here, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fail here. I'm gonna go to the earlier routes of the game, have a Zigzagoon army ready with some rare candies, and then level up to the max once we get back to Steven. Now, Digging Onix's max level is 53. It doesn't gain that much experience in the Elite Four, so the rare candy, we just used it before the fight here. And we can take 3 Steel Wings before going down, which means as long as Screech doesn't miss, we should be good. But you know what's even better? KOing Skarmory with Digging Onix. Out comes Aggron. Instead of Hitmonchan, we go for Onix with Earthquake. With Armaldo, we can get in 3 Leers before Machamp goes down. Great job. And then we miss Rock Slide. Nah, gotcha. And you know what the really sad part is that the attempts that you're seeing are the best ones that I could get. Because no matter how far we get, Metagross is just so much of a brick wall for us because it can take us out in one hit of any move it uses. Psychic for our fighting types, and Onix, of course. Machamp would get one-shot by it too if it survived up to that point, so... Can Bruno defeat Steven with his yellow team and moves with 0 IVs? Well, put an asterisk by no, because if you get enough luck, then yeah, you could, but the chances are so infinitesimal that it's just not realistic. However, though I've dubbed this run a failure, we're going to try with max IVs. We start off, as usual, with Onix going for the 3 Screeches, and we get pretty good Skarmory RNG here. Not only that, but you see that damage wheel with Rock Slide? All the difference those IVs make. And as Steven sends out Aggron, we're going to send out our Earthquake Onix. Now, that should be a 2-shot, but a critical Earthquake from Onix one-shots Aggron. Never thought I'd see that. Now check this out, Machamp versus Armaldo, we've seen this matchup before, but with our max IVs, we're not only able to tank more aerial aces, but Submission takes out Armaldo and we survive. We're also faster than Metagross, unfortunately no crit from Karate Chop. We're gonna go and send in Hitmonchan, then Fire Punch does pretty decent damage actually, and we actually end up, believe it or not, surviving Psychic. Next Fire Punch brings him under half, and we get a burn. Oh man, we're looking good. But you want to get ready for something really awesome. Thanks to that burn, Earthquake Onix is able to knock out Metagross, yo. My man Onix, what can I say? Digging Onix misses Screech against Cradilly, goes down to Giga Drain. Hitmonlee gets hit by Confuse Ray, and, well, fortunately for us, we have pretty good confusion luck. We do hit ourselves once, but we are able to finish off Cradilly with double kick, so we're going to swap into Onix to weaken Claydol with Screech. 2 Screeches in -4 defense. Mega Kick does not miss and takes out Claydol in 1 hit. So, can Bruno defeat Steven and beat Pokemon Ruby with 0 IVs? He can get to the champion, but not defeat him. You know, not without infinitesimally crazy luck. But with max IVs, yes. That took 11 tries to pull off, by the way. And you've probably seen the time when I'm going through the resets and all that good stuff, but you're going to see our time here in a sec when I told you that we're going to go grind at the start of the game to try and get a little Zigzagoon pickup army to get us rare candies so that we could actually be as powerful as we possibly could be. Well, we did hit our level caps, which is very awesome, and we end this challenge at 27 hours and 41 minutes. Oh dear, yeah, you can probably see why this was a little late getting out. Over half of my folder of footage for this run is the Steven Stone fight. That fight took me a very long time to try, and as you saw, I didn't complete it on 0 IVs. But I figured, hey, it's a subscriber special, and I'm sure you guys are curious because I sure was, if we could pull it off on max IVs. The real lesson there for that fight with Steven is how important IVs are, and our EV training was pretty good in this run too, all things considered. Anyway, hopefully our next run will be up soon. I will see you guys there. Take it easy.